What is up, scooter heads? Hey, I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Labor Day weekend. I started mine off right. A buddy of mine and his family went down to a Hebler, Kawasaki in Buffalo, New York, or Lockport, New York. Got a chance to ride some demos, and just a great start to the weekend. So last year, I rode the Ninja 650 at the Kawasaki demo event in Henrietta, New York. Thought it was an okay bike. The bike that I rode last year, I think, was maybe a little bit more used and abused because it wasn't as tight as this one. And I know that they haven't had major changes to the suspension or anything like that. So this one, to me, was a much more, it felt newer and it felt less used. So I think this one may have had just a little bit less miles on it. So, you know, I definitely enjoyed my the performance on this bike a little bit better than the one I tried last year. I don't think it's due to the year, you know, the last one being in 23 versus this one being in 24. I just think that the bikes, you know, were a little bit different and this one was a little bit tighter. So my experience on this one was significantly better. So this bike, the reason I think this bike is such an important bike is because me personally, when I was shopping for the CBR 500, I cross-shopped the Kawasaki Ninja 650, and I went back and forth between the Kawasaki and the Ninja, and I found that with me coming from a scooter, from my ADV 150, I was a little bit apprehensive about going from a bike that had 16 horsepower to something that had 67 horsepower. And so I thought maybe the CBR, with it being around 50 horsepower, would be a better sweet spot, you know. And I think it was a good choice, but I do think that the Ninja 650, if you're considering like going between the Ninja and the CBR, this is a bike that you really shouldn't disregard. It is very popular. There are a ton of videos on YouTube about this bike, but I do think that it does have some value points that go beyond the CBR 500, and in turn may allow you to keep this bike longer than you would keep the CBR 500 for. Okay, so a couple things. As you can see, this has a beautiful TFT display. This looks just like the one that's on the new Ninja 400 RR, as well as the new Ninja 600 or 6. I forgot whatever it's called, but the new Ninja. But this one's been on. This display's been on this, I think, since 2020 or so. But again, that's something that's awesome. You get Bluetooth connectivity. There's a Kawasaki riding app. Those are all great things that I think make this very appealing. Also, you're going to spend a little bit more on this bike than you do with the CBR 500. I believe this CBR 500 is about $72.99. There's some destination that's in there, and maybe a surcharge or something like that. But I believe the base MSRP on the 2023 is about $72.99. Don't quote me, 72, maybe $73.99 for the 2023 CBR. And this one starts at $82.99. Now keep in mind, that's for the non-ABS version. So you're looking at a delta of about $1,000. Do I think that $1,000 is worth it? Maybe. You get the tech, you get more power. I think that's the bigger thing. You're about 67 horsepower maybe on this one, versus 47 on the CBR 500. So that is something that's going to allow you to maybe keep this bike a little bit longer than you would keep your CBR 500 for it. Now, being that I've ridden the CBR 500, for a year, would I go from the CBR 500 to this bike? Absolutely not. It's not something that I don't think that for me that coin would be worth it because of the the fact that, you know, that let's say 17 horsepower difference is not worth the whole process of trading in your bike, selling it, and then going out and buying this again for something that you may in another 6 months to a year be getting tired of. So, but I do think that if you are cross shopping the two bikes, if you're someone that's pretty mature or pretty confident, if you have riding experience and you're just getting back into it, I think that this might be a bike that maybe you might want to keep a little bit longer because of the updated tech and a little bit more power. I do think that delta between the $74.99, $72.99 for the CBR and the Ninja is well worth it. So just, that's just my 2 cents as of now, coming from riding my CBR up until this point. I do think this is a cool bike. Enjoyed it. It's super comfortable. Like, I could have ridden this bike all day long. Just like the CBR. CBR is super comfortable as well. I do think that these are bikes that are competitive. Like, they're in a competitive space. So that's why I keep bringing this bike up. But that's just my 2 cents, guys. I really enjoy this bike. Let me know what you think. If you're looking for a CBR 500, are you cross-shopping the Ninja, or are you cross-shopping the CF Moto 450? Or the Ninja 400. So there's a lot, between these bikes that we can choose from. I hope you guys stay safe. Have a happy Labor Day weekend. I'll check you on the next one. Peace!